In post-colonial Cameroon, before we start telling a story, we shout to the crowd, histoire, which means story. And the crowd shouts back, raconte, which means do tell. So when I say histoire, you say raconte, okay? Yeah. Histoire! Raconte! Histoire! Raconte! Histoire! Raconte! I heard you the first time! In one queendom of pre-colonial Angola lived a woman named Kinoube, who was always wearing the same few clothes in her wardrobe. She would occasionally buy new clothes, but she just never wore them. Whenever she went to the market to buy new fabrics or new clothes, she would sometimes run into her old friend, Fila. One day, Fila asked her, Kinoube, can I ask you something? No offense. What is wrong with you? Why do you keep wearing those old clothes? What do you do with all those beautiful fabrics you keep buying? Look at this shweshwe from Azania. Look at this beautiful bobolan from the Mali Empire. And this gorgeous Ashanti Nwentoma. Oh, I prefer my old clothes because it's so comfortable. Kinoube replied, but you can buy new clothes that are just as comfortable. Fila insisted. I just like these old ones. Then, why do you keep buying new clothes in the first place? Why don't you just decide never to buy anything new ever again in your life? Kinoube pretended not to hear. But she had heard all right. Just like the storyteller before me. But she didn't lose her temper. She was actually very annoyed by Fila's words. She was very Canadian about it. On her way back home, she was just fuming in her head, Fila in her big mouth. Why does she care what I'm wearing or not? Why don't people just mind their own business? Now, Kinoube spent a great deal of time reflecting on herself. She was the kind of people who introspect, pay attention to their emotions. She would do some journaling, trying to understand why Fila's words bothered her so much. And because she was a well-read black woman, she was familiar with the French expression, il n'y a que la vérité qui blesse. The truth hurts. So she wondered how much truth there was in what Fila had said. One day, Kinoube received an invitation to a wedding. A lesbian wedding. Okay, the original cocktail does not specify the genders of the newlyweds, but if you just imagine they were straight people, that's the colonial mindset. This is pre-colonial Angola. Yeah. Actually, I'm on a mission tonight. I want you to leave Danu tonight with the memory of a pre-colonial queer Africa. So I'm going to be even more specific. Let's pretend that that day Kinoube had received an invitation to the wedding of the queen, or should I say, female king, yes. Zinga Bande. Zinga Bande, an actual Angolan royalty who refused to be called a queen, but king instead. Zinga Bande, let's assume that she was taking her 11th wife. Zinga Bande, born in 1583 and deceased in 1663, led the kingdoms of Dongo and Matamba in what is now northern Angola. She came to the throne after the death of her father and her brother during the rapid expansion of the transatlantic trade. I need to take a breath before pronouncing that because it hurts. She led 4 decades of military resistance against Portuguese colonial rule, and she is remembered for her intelligence, her diplomatic brilliance, her military strategy, and her practice of taking female husbands. Historical accounts describe her also as taking male husbands, but they were required to be dressed as women. So we might call them male wives. Whatever, let's just pretend that Kinoube was invited to the 18th wedding of female king Zingabangu. What was she going to wear? Her old clothes were ready, good to go. But she kept thinking about what Fila had said. Was she going to challenge herself? She walked to that chair. You know what chair, you know? The chair buried under a pile of clothes that she wore every day. That chair. Those clothes that are not clean enough to go back to the wardrobe, but not smelly enough to belong to the laundry basket. That liminal chair was looking at her, ready to go. She walked to the chair. She stopped. And then she kept walking to the wardrobe. But just like the storyteller before me, the clothes, they were unfazed by the whole situation. They were not bothered. It was not their first rodeo. They were experts. They were unbothered by the situation. They knew that Kinoube would just open the wardrobe, sigh, and close the wardrobe, and come back to them. They knew that Kinoube looked at the new clothes in her wardrobe the same way you look at a grapefruit when there's tiramisu in the fridge. But that is not what happened. Kinoube opened the wardrobe where all those new clothes and new fabrics had been collecting dust for years. And she just picked one outfit. She put it on. It was a wrapper made of the finest raffia and high quality palm fibers draping around her hips, extending to her chest, but not the whole chest, of course. The boobs got to breathe. I don't want to be too specific about the details of her clothes because I don't want to just assume her gender expression, but let me tell you this. It was the kind of outfit that makes you feel beautiful. The kind of outfit that makes you feel powerful. The kind of outfit that makes you feel true to yourself. The kind of outfit that makes you feel like, when you step out on the sidewalk, people at the other end of the street shiver. They feel your presence. They turn around. They know you're out the shit. If you've never felt this way, wearing an outfit, you haven't found the right outfit yet. The kind of outfit that gives you gender euphoria. Now fully dressed, Kinoube decided to style her hair. She coated her hair with onkula, a thick mixture made from red ochre and animal fat or butter, and crushed herbs. And then she adorned herself with cowrie shells and glass beads around her neck, gold rings on her fingers, and she wore the most beautiful leather sandals. She was ravishing, just like me tonight. The old clothes on that chair near her bed were completely baffled. They could not believe their closed eyes. They were horrified. What is happening right now? Okay, Cinderella, very funny. Now, go change back into us. But Kinoube did not change. Radiant as hell, she just walked towards her door, ready to go to the wedding ceremony. The old clothes on her chair were like, no, this is not happening. Hey, you always wearing us. not gonna leave us behind for that wedding. No, 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 no. We're not ready for that. They started marching behind her, singing. Yes, this is a rice cooker. You used to wear us every day. What is happening today? You leave us behind. Oh, come because we will follow you. We will follow you. You used to wear us every day. What is happening today? You leave us behind. Oh, come because we will follow you. We will follow you. Kinoube arrived at the wedding ceremony. When she stepped in, whoa, every eye turned around to just look at her. And she thought, I know I look good, but I didn't know I look that good. The entire lesbian elite of pre-colonial Angola was there. Fila stood in the middle of her romantic partners because yes, Fila is polyamorous. And she was smiling proudly at her. And then Kinoube noticed the tears in Fila's eyes. And she thought, oh, my old friend. She must be so moved that I finally took her advice. The CEO of the nail clippers manufacturer looked at her while biting her lip. The way you look at a steaming plate of fungi. And Kinoube thought, I must look delicious right now. The best heart surgeon of the entire queendom couldn't keep her eyes off of her. And Kinoube thought she must be worrying about her own heart right now. Because I might steal it, I'm just so hot. The best, the finest Hungu and Bulumbumba players stopped their music the moment she stepped in. Even female king, Zinga Bande's wives number 1 to 10 couldn't help staring at Kinoube. And Kinoube was like, yeah, I must be the most beautiful one here today. And suddenly, the royal drummers started playing the Goma and the Brita to announce the arrival of the newlyweds. Ladies and non-ladies, beautiful people of pre-colonial Angola, Her Majesty the King. And suddenly, female King Zinga Bande and her bride, number 11, arrived. And almost immediately, the king herself noticed Kinoube. She walked to her throne, took her seat, and then she slightly raised her hand to ask the drummers to just stop their music. Silence filled the room. She looked at Kinoube, crooked her finger to ask her to come closer, and Kinoube obeyed. What should I call you? The female king asked. Kinoube, Your Majesty? Kinoube. Oh, you look absolutely ravishing today. I just love everything you're wearing. But don't worry, I'm a feminist. I won't force you to marry me. Just let me address the elephant in the room. why is this pile of old clothes following you around? From somewhere in the crowd, you could hear Phila shout, "She's my friend, oh, Your Majesty. I practically had to beg her to wear something new for today." Kinoube was mortified. She couldn't think of a single thing to say in her defense. Silently, she just thanked her ancestors for giving her enough melanin to prevent her from blushing like a tomato. On that day, she made herself a promise. From now on, she would stop wearing only her old clothes. From that day on, she would alternate between wearing something new and wearing something you always wear, comfortable. From that day on, she would alternate between reaching out to those same phone numbers on your phone and calling someone you've never called before. From that day on, she would alternate between reading the books from the public library and the books you already own at home. From that day on, she would alternate between her comfort zone and new experiences. And maybe then, old habits, literally, would stop dying so hard. And this concludes my story.